everybody. Welcome back to the Acquire podcast. I'm your host, Jennie Wright, and I'm excited for today because if you have not heard me talk about it, and that's kind of a joke, tech stacks. I love a good tech stack, and I have been using a certain element in my tech stack, or I was, even so far back as 2012. So back in the day, and this is before I introduce our guest, because this is a special episode. This is supposed to be a solo, just me and the computer, just me talking. But I had to bring in our guest today. So just like hold on for a little second on that. Back in 2012, when I started this business, I was doing summits. Okay. But they were called audio summits or whatnot, right? Telesummits. And we had to use Skype. That was the only thing we had. And we had no way to record off of Skype. And I remember that. And I was on a Mac. There was one tool that I could find, and that was Ecamm Live. So that was the tool I was using back in 2012 to record off of Skype. And full circle moment, because now it's 2024 and I have the amazing opportunity where I've been able to work with Ecamm to help facilitate a really cool challenge with Capshow, who you guys probably know I do some work for. So our special guest today is Katie Fawkes. She is the director of marketing at Ecamm and somebody who I've gotten to know over the past, a couple of months, and she's amazing. So Katie, thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, such a pleasure. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and one of the things that you and I kind of like bonded over in our Slack conversations and on our calls, like planning for this 21-day content habit challenge, was the geeking out on tech stacks and the geeking out of tech. And I was like, okay, we've got to have a formalized chat because we've had these like we've had off camera chats about like tech and everything. So first of all, how did you get into being the director of marketing at Ecamm? Tell me about that adventure.
Oh my gosh. A colorful backwards weird adventure actually. So I am a English literature ancient history major. so
Too.
so yeah, right? So
What?
yeah, isn't that weird? I love it. So I always wanted to be a writer or to work in publishing, and I found my way slowly into that industry. And then the more that I was in it, the more that I found myself helping out with more marketing projects and working on more kind of marketing stuff and helping with like copywriting and
Mm-hmm.
getting into that side of things. And I'm old enough that this was also the time when social media was starting to become a thing. And so I kind of transitioned from publishing into copywriting and writing into social media. And flash forward, a decade or so, we'll say. And I've been working,
Ambiguous.
exactly. I'd been working in marketing for most of my career at that point, and I was in between jobs and trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. I had taken this job at an ad agency, and I really wasn't loving the agency world. I had worked in it before, and it was just too. I don't know. I'm such a control freak, and I just like I couldn't like handle not spending like all of my time with like one client, like the managing kind of multiple clients wasn't my thing. And I have been friends for years with one of the co-founders of Ecamm, Ken, and he was like, "Hey, we've been my brother and I have been working on this company, for years and years now. We've never done any marketing. We've never seen any need whatsoever to do any marketing. The software's always sold itself, but we're getting into the live streaming space, and we just added this new tool called Ecamm Live. And now there's all these people who are like influencers and marketing people, and they want to work with us, and they want to talk to us, and they want to do all these things. And we're like, we're developers. We don't want to do all this stuff. So they wanted to know if I would come on and kind of take a look at what was possible from a marketing standpoint and kind of put together some strategies of what they could do and talk with all the influencers. And it was just a really great fit. I will say the first to say, and I think I've said this on every stream that's asked me this question, but I am not a video person. I am not a live streamer. I am not a podcaster. I am all those things now. But when I first took that job, the idea of being on camera, the idea of like even just talking like on audio was absolutely terrifying to me. So I had to get over that really, really quick because the rest of it was really fun and fascinating. And certainly being in the tech space, which I've managed to be in most of my career, was just an exciting addition to everything. So sort of lucked my way into it through
Yeah.
through friends and through just, I don't know, yeah, it's amazing what you have in your skilled toolbox that you might not even know is there or might not know is something that would be really helpful in a different career space.
You and I have very many similarities. I'm sitting over here as we
You're
speak.
like,
My
yes.
yes, yes. I majored in literature and English, and
I love
minored
it.
in medieval and other points of history.
Yes, you're
I
my
did
people.
historiography was a required
Ooh.
course, and I will tell you that it was honestly it was like history porn. It was amazing. It
With
was the
everything and more.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good. It was the like the geography of history. What happened in
Oh,
what
cool.
geographic location, and what did the geographical location mean towards that history? How did it influence what was
Oh,
happening at the
we
time?
need
It's fun.
another podcast all about that so that we can geek out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I actually geek out. And I can't believe I'm going to mention this. There's a podcast that I follow. He's big. It's the history of the English language.
I
Uh,
just subscribed to that based on your followed now as the new terminology based on your recommendation. So I'm
oh
so
my God.
excited. Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. I literally will listen to that because I love the etymology. We're so off topic right now, but I love the etymology, and it's just so fascinating. So we'll have to do a separate podcast episode just on this. Or we could do a private podcast using Ecamm.
Yeah. There you go.
Right?
We're sorry, listeners. We're sorry.
So sorry. So sorry. Okay, back to marketing. So interesting. I fell into this career as well.
Mhm.
Having an English degree, I actually was working for a big box retailer to pay for my degree.
Oh, cool.
And I was working in the front end. I was, packing stuff. I was a cashier and everything, and I got injured. And I
Oh,
was
no.
I was badly injured. And so they said, okay, for the next 6 months, you're going to sit in a room with this stack of marketing stuff, like all these people who had to renew their memberships for this big box retailer.
Uh-huh.
And I discovered that there was a big problem. I discovered all these like duplicates and stuff. Long story short, that was my foray into marketing. And then
Yeah.
I just never left. Right. And then, did marketing and communications and stuff. And then, like, long story short, here we are. And I've been working with multiple clients and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But let's talk about tech stack. So,
Yeah.
first of all, let's tell everybody what Ecamm is if they haven't heard what Ecamm is. So Mac people probably know what Ecamm is, and if you don't, go and find out. Actually, in the show notes, I have a link to go and check out a very cool piece of software there. I mean, Ecamm is amazing, and I'm actually going to be switching this podcast over into using Ecamm. So
Yay.
we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm getting my Ecamm sort of like feet under me. So tell me a little bit more about Ecamm, and why is it so bloody amazing? Because it is.
So Ecamm started as a live streaming software specifically for Facebook Live way back, and now it has really evolved into a full video and audio production tool. So it really is your sidekick to creating all things video or audio if you're in the audio podcasting space, and it makes it really really easy because it was built for Mac. So we get asked this question all the time where they're like, "Is there a Windows version available, or is there is there a PC version?" There is not. There won't be. It was built on the principles of Mac, on the kind of simplicity, the drag and drop, the feeling and the vibes, I
The
guess, for
plug
lack of a
and
better word.
play.
The plug and
The
play.
literal plug and play. And it even
Yeah.
tells you, would you like us to add this to your applications? Like, yes, please. Thank you for removing that unnecessary step that I don't want to take. And it does it for you.
Yeah,
Like, hi.
exactly. So it's really made to be easy. It's really made to help people who are not video people, who
Yeah.
are starting in this space and know the content that they want to create, but maybe it feels really big or scary or just a
Hmm.
lot. So it helps make things a lot easier from that perspective.
It does. And when I'm looking at the tech stack for my clients who obviously are trying to grow, who either have a podcast or doing video, because most everybody at some point now at this level are
Yeah, you should be. Yeah.
100%. And I'm like you, I hate being in front of camera. Literally hate it, but I had to get over it real fast
Yeah.
because life, growth,
Yeah.
business, everything. So tough on me and I have to do it. But my tech stack has evolved over the years. But one of the things that I find that you always need is you need to have, if you're going to have a podcast, you have to have the best possible audio. If you're going to do video, you have to have the best possible video.
Yeah.
You have to put the time into making sure, even if you are not a tech savvy person, but you
Mhm.
have to make it look a certain way. So Ecamm is amazing. I'm getting my feet back. I was an Ecamm customer years ago, but now I'm like getting back into it, which is fabulous.
Yeah.
What other tools are in like your own personal tech stack that you just can't live without?
Oh my gosh. All right. Let's work our way through. So so I live and breathe in Slack, which we talked about at the beginning of this episode. And so I use that for, you know, communication, coordination. It holds all like my to-do lists and all my kind of like it's my central hub, I guess. I use that probably a lot more even than email. So Slack, I'm a huge fan of it on my phone and on my computer.
And every time I
E-
message, all of a sudden your little
yeah,
thing goes green. I'm like, oh my God, she's checking it now.
I'm a notification. I wish that I was not sometimes, but I'm one of those people that the second that there's like a flag, I'm like, need to clear the flag. It could be urgent. I need to dive in. Yeah. So I'm working on that. I'm working my way through being a perfectionist, but Slack is was life changing for me when I started at Ecamm. We had a text message chain. We're a really small company, and so that was a huge win for us, was bringing on a communication tool, and now we use it to also coordinate with like tons of other teams, including Capshow. And I mean, almost every company that we partner with seems to have Slack, and we're able to kind of pipe in that way. So that's a great one if you haven't used that one before. From an email marketing standpoint, we use ConvertKit, which recently changed over to Kit. They're fantastic as well. But you asked me on the personal side. I mean, for the most part, I'm on the personal side for tech. I live in a video and a podcasting world these days. And so Ecamm is pretty central to that because video is the hardest part. And so if you can find a tool, and I'm not trying to sell you on Ecamm, like, but find a tool that does all of that easily, even if you don't need it right now, even if you're saying to yourself, I'm only doing an audio podcast. I don't need video right now. Or, I don't need a tool that's that big. If you have something that does everything, then you can
You
grow
grow
up with
into
it.
it.
You can
Yeah.
grow into it, or you can start big and then you're able to pull all of the smaller pieces out. It's way easier to start big and have like too much content that you can
Hmm.
pare back and scale down and grab clips from, especially these days with AI, than it is to go the other way. It's way harder to say like, oh, I have this like script and now I have to record and now I have to grab the audio and now I have to write a blog post. It's much easier to kind of start with the hardest, which in most cases is video. So Ecamm is kind of my starting point for creating all different types of video. And usually it's long form first, and then I pull short form video from that, pull the audio from that. Um, I love a couple of different AI based tools. So obviously Capshow, in the same way Jenny's getting into Ecamm, I'm getting into Capshow. So that's been awesome. And Capshow Next Gen is just a really great tool. I also use a bunch of other ones. So Ecamm integrates with Descript, which
Hmm.
makes it really easy to grab the transcript. I use that predominantly for getting chapters really easy for YouTube videos, and being able to just sort of read through a video. I'm an English lit person, so being able to visually see like what I said helps me figure out what clips I might want to pull, or where the chapter markers should be. Times where I've said and on that I might want to cut out. It's a good tool for being able to do that. It's got a lot of AI tools built within it. I've been trying to get more into editing. So I've been using a tool called Scenery, which is again built right into Ecamm. So it's super simple. I like record the video, sends it over. That's like a collaborative video editing tool.
Yeah. I just
Uh,
tried that with Doc
yeah.
Rock. And I was like, this is neato mosquito. Like, this is cool stuff.
Yeah, I know. I use probably more than I need to, by and large, because I have access to a lot of them because I work for Ecamm.
Yeah.
But I will say that the ones that I pay for personally that like I really, really love, um, are Podpage, which is the one that builds out my podcast website and kind of does a lot of automations based on that. People can leave voicemails and it syncs in with my podcast. So it puts my episodes up. I pay for that one. I do pay for Opus Clip, which does automatic little video clips and snippets. I really like that tool a lot because, again, it's like super, super easy. For me, everything in the tech space is like, can I learn it in an hour or two? Because I don't have a ton of time. And can I learn? I don't need to know all of it. I really just want to be able to know enough that I can do what I need to do with it. So it's like if it's not saving me time or creating like any kind of efficiency, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to know it. I don't have time to learn it. And I want it to I want all the things to sync together so that ideally I'm doing one thing and then the rest of the tools are sort of automating that process for me or making it really simple and seamless. And these days it's getting a lot easier to do that with all the AI tools that are helping along the way. So
It is.
long-winded answer,
No,
but
great
a
answer.
bunch of different things, but ideally all things that are making it easier. And I'm also not afraid to like pull tools too. If something's not working or there's like a newer, cooler thing that works better, I'm happy to move into that space instead.
Yep, I get it. I've been using
Oh,
so my
Notion is another one. That's a good
Notion.
one.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yeah. So I can't fathom using Asana right now anymore. Like no. As soon as I started using Notion, so I started using Notion with the project with this is the 21-day content habit challenge, which I will quickly plug because it is launching on July 15th. It's currently
So
open for
soon.
registration. Go
Yep.
register now. From July 15th all the way to August 4th, it's a 21-day content challenge between Capshow and Ecamm,
Mhm.
and we're going to be doing, and I'm involved, guys, completely. I'm going to be doing like Monday motivation with my counterpart from Ecamm, Doc Rock, who, by the way, is a drill sergeant and will motivate you to get your stuff done.
No
And if,
excuses with Doc.
oh my God, but he's so much fun. Uh, so we have this content and habit challenge, and I'll put the link into chat so you guys, not chat, sorry, into show notes. Why am I saying chat?
Mhm.
Put it into show notes so you guys can check it out and sign up for it. It's really great and it's free. And with it, you get a 30-day trial to Ecamm and a 30-day trial to Capshow Next Gen, which is
Mhm.
amazing. These are really great products. But I
You get
started
the
using,
support though too, which I think is the biggest part of this. Because as we
right.
said, like sometimes you don't know where to start and you don't know like exactly how to build out the workflow that makes sense. So that's sort of the impetus behind this type of challenge is like really thinking through, okay, how do you use these? How do you work through? How do you make it into a habit? So I'm excited for
Hmm.
this because I think it's going to help me. It's probably going to help you too, Jenny. It's like as we learn like each other's softwares, it'll help us kind
Yeah.
of get into the routine of it. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, next gen for me took me about 20 minutes to master.
mhm.
It's pretty step by step,
It's
gonna
pretty
say.
straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah, super straightforward. And then Ecamm is a bit more of a slightly bit more of a learning curve, but that's because it's a really full box solution to me. So there's a
Mhm.
bit more. But because I'm a Mac user, I find it really easy peasy. So
Yeah.
not a big deal. I was going to ask you, I noticed that you have like Ecamm has rabid followers, like fully rabid followers. And these are content creators. Why are they so like, just like they are fawning over the software? They just love it so much.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got to meet a whole bunch of them in the production of this challenge, and they just love it, top down, left, right. Like, what
Yep.
is it about Ecamm that makes them do that?
Um, we're really community focused and we're really intentional with that. We've been that way from the very beginning. So even before I joined the team, Ken and Glenn, our co-founders, were had created this Facebook group and they were in that group asking customers like, how are you using this? What do you want? What's working? What's not working? Taking
Hmm.
feedback, getting on live streams with customers, really being super hands-on. And we haven't lost that over the years, even though we've certainly grown in size pretty substantially since
Hmm.
those earlier days. I think a lot of it is that creating video is intimidating and people find it, even if they know what they want to talk about, even if they're comfortable on camera, it feels big. There are things that could certainly go wrong. There are a lot of, tech challenges that come out of it. And so we've really worked very hard to foster this space, this sort of inclusive, safe space. So it's like you need to practice doing a live stream. Great. Come into our space and practice doing a live stream. And if it goes wrong, no problem. There's, 20,000 people in this group who are like happy to jump on and test and point out, what you could be doing or what you could be doing differently or what might be happening. So I think it's really like part of it is us and an intentionality. And then part of it is just once you've like nailed it and you've kind of been through the fears and the overwhelm of getting started, then you almost want to be able to help other people. You're like, oh, other people help me. And so there's sort of a pay it forward perspective and attitude within our community, our Discord, and kind of where we stay. And we have a lot of fun. We do a ton of, similar to the challenge that we're doing in partnership with Capshow. We do a lot of trainings and workshops and content. The mass majority of our sales come through referral and through affiliate. So, we all win together when we help our customers look their best and sound their best and feel their best on camera. They're constantly saying like, I'm doing this because of Ecamm, and then more people are coming in that way. So it really is a win-win situation because it's so public and because it's so visual. It really kind of sells itself from that perspective, as long as we're able to really make people feel, supported and helped.
The intentionality, I think, really matters.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, I mean, I've used a ton of software over the years to build my business, to build my clients' business. And the ones that get my business are the ones that don't take the customers for granted,
Mm-hmm.
that continue even as they grow. They're pretty much the same as when they had 100 users to when they have 1,000 users,
Yeah.
right? And the community isn't a bunch of, lack of a better word, I've used this a couple times, people, but like bro marketers, that
No.
no, no, can't do that. I remember putting a post up in this quote unquote community, air quotes on that one, for this landing page builder software that I'd been using. And I
Mm-hmm.
put a comment in the group. I'm like, hey, I'm really struggling. My page is converting at this. Here's some visuals of what that looks like. Like, I could really use a couple pointers. And the amount of comments going, oh, this is terrible. You should be
Ugh.
doing this. Blah, blah, blah. Remove this, remove that, slash burn, slash burn. I'm like, so basically, headline, subhead, call to action box, like that's what, really? Nothing about, and they're like, no, no, take it from us. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna. No, no,
Yeah, no, I've thought about this and no.
no, no, no,
Yeah.
you're not my people. You're not my people. Oh, and no, I'm not gonna do no. So, anyways, that community wasn't for me. And what I find is like, if you so a comparable piece of software community wise, I would say is like Go High Level.
Mm.
They have a really good community. ConvertKit has a really good community.
ConvertKit does have a really great community. Yep.
Yeah, they've definitely fostered that over the years, which is
Mm-hmm.
great. I love that. Canvas community is not too bad ish, depending on which one you kind of play with. But I like that the founders bring in cool updates, and they had like a little secret thing that if you kept pressing this button, like the little home button, that you could get, like you could unlock the new software early. And people are like, go click that button. I was 588 or
Oh,
whatever.
that is so fun. I love that.
Yeah, so I ended up opening it up on my desktop, and I was like clicking the button, and all of a sudden it was like fireworks went off, and it's like you're
Oh,
5,888, and
yeah.
it's like, would you like to share? And I got early access to their new beta for
So
doing it.
fun.
So they
Yeah.
were rewarding like people who were passing along the secret message, and people went
Mm-hmm.
full like guerrilla marketing, sharing it like, hey,
It
go
was
press
fun
this
to
button.
watch. Yeah.
It
It
was
was really
fun.
fun to watch.
It was fun, right? So it was like a little Easter egg that they hid within the software, which I thought was pretty smart, right? So I,
Mm-hmm.
I, I want to ask you this question. So Ecamm doesn't or didn't really promote. You came along. What's the promo look like now? What's the plan? How do
Oh
you stay
gosh.
authentic?
I mean, again, I would say 90%, if not more, of our marketing really is in community marketing, influencer and affiliate. Um, we're just helping people be better. We do it, we go to a lot of events. We run a lot of our own events, both virtually and in person. And we're really just entirely dedicated to, if we make people feel better on camera, and if we help them achieve their goals, their video and their audio goals, then the company is going to grow. um we don't do a lot of advertising. We do a little bit, we social ads, and then we do a little bit on podcasts and things that we love or that we partner with. But I would say by and large the mass majority of what we're doing is just helping people understand this space better, whether or not they're Ecamm customers. There are a number. We do almost all of our trainings are free and open to everyone. We do a lot of them on YouTube. A lot of them are done in like kind of a live format with replays available later. So, we've had people who are like, oh, like I'm a diehard PC person. I'm never switching over to Mac. And then like the year later, they're like, oh, I bought a Mac. And the first software that I put on was Ecamm. So I think there's something really to be said for just kind of being the nice guys who are, who are there, where, we're consistently there week after week, helping everyone navigate this space. And a lot of it includes, as we're talking about tech stack, like a lot of what we've been talking about this year at Ecamm has been this focus on like, what's your big picture workflow? No, but really, like, do you have one, and have you evaluated it, and what does it look like, and what are those tools that are within it that are helping you get from A to Z, and are they working? Like,
Yeah.
are they the right tools? Do you need to make switches? Do you need to simplify? Do you need to broaden? And that goes beyond Ecamm. Ecamm is certainly, part of that, certainly for us, but you're never going to be successful if even if you're using Ecamm and you're recording videos or you're live streaming week after week after week, and you're just sitting there with like all this videos surrounding you and
Yeah.
you don't know what to do with it, right? Like, so if we can help people be better, no matter where we come in that journey, I think it really goes a long way. So it's been really fun, and I've learned a ton over the years. I'm sort of selfish in that a lot of the time I'm like, what do I need to learn, or like, what am I really struggling with in my content journey? And hearing what other people are saying, and when they say the same thing, we're like, okay, well then we're all going to learn this together. Like, I'm happy to be a guinea pig and throw myself out there, be like, I have no idea how to do this, let's learn together, I'll bring some friends.
Same. As long as I can learn it and as long as it makes sense in my workflow. You brought up workflows, and it makes me like I was talking about a couple episodes ago, I was talking about sort of like the email architecture or
Oh
marketing
yeah.
architecture of your
Yep.
business. What does
Mm-hmm.
that look like? And what are the necessary components within that architecture so that
Yeah.
everything flows together?
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about like the frameworks and the workflows, what would you say is like the minimum viable like thing that has to be working within these workflows so that your business not only just sustains but grows?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I mean, probably email. It's probably all centered around email, which is um funny because I feel like I've had like a love-hate relationship with email over the I am not an email marketer. I'm so thankful that I have team members who are able to help with a lot of that. But with all of the changes that we're seeing out, with a number of the different tools, with AI, certainly out across social, I think the more important it is to own your audience and to own your space and to have like a regular communication point with them. And so I think if you can do email well, and it can be very simple, like it does not have to be overthought, then that's a great base. And I think, you could have, I mean, here we have, this Facebook community that has, we're up to like 20,000 or 25,000 pretty active users within it. But Facebook could at any point be like, well, now we're not doing groups anymore, bye, and turn it off. And we'd be in huge trouble. Like we have that data, but it's not as well organized as it should be. And we have some of those people that are on email lists. But so yeah, I think a lot of it starts with email, or with, if not email, then some kind of owned space where you're able to communicate with your customers and your potential customers, because all of the other places you're renting space there. So any of that can change, and you could lose, a lot of work and a lot of relationships pretty quickly. Like, even if they want to get back to you, it'd be difficult.
There's a lot of software that went down during the pandemic. Like we saw Meta go down multiple times. We saw,
Mm-hmm.
like just a lot of downtime with a lot
Yep.
of the software, social media in particular. And then we
Mm-hmm.
saw the rise of, well, the very short rise of threads. Like, let's be honest, right? It saw daylight for about 5 minutes and then it went back in its hole. That's my
Yeah.
opinion. I never
Yeah.
signed up for it because I was
I
like,
didn't either.
I was like,
So,
this is not gonna work.
yeah.
Just not gonna happen, right? And then we had, geez, what was the other one that came up during the pandemic? It was all audio.
Oh, yeah, we played in that space a lot. Shoot, now I can't even think of the name of
Does
it.
it start with a C? Why is it out of my brain? Anyways, um,
We did a lot in that space. It was fun. It was fun for a bit, but yeah, it definitely it definitely faded pretty quickly.
it did. It did. And I know a lot of people who did well by like early adopting.
Yeah.
into that, which was kind of neat. And so they got into that fast.
Mhm.
And everybody probably knows the software I'm talking about. I just can't remember the name of
I
it right
know.
now.
I'm not any
I'm
better.
blanking. And I deleted it off my phone because I stopped using it so long ago.
I was
But
looking down at my phone. I'm like, I can't even look this up
no,
with
I
it.
can't even look it up right now. But I don't know. I thought it started with a C. But anyways, these like you're so right about renting spaces, right? So we saw all these downtimes happening. The only thing that hasn't really been able to quote unquote like go down completely has been my email list or your email list. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we have the access to it. I always recommend, and this is weird, but I always recommend like old school backup.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do a list build, which I always tell people they need to be doing, if you do a list build, you need to be backing up on a regular basis because if
Mm-hmm.
you add five, six, 700, 1,000 people to your email list, and then somehow something gets hacked or you end up with deliverability issues and they
Mm-hmm.
blacklist you for whatever reason, you need to have that. Or
Yep.
if like active campaign just goes down or whatever,
Yep.
you need to have that access, right? So I remember distinctly running a campaign for a client and we were running a big online event. Like this was a six-figure event.
Wow.
And we had a 30,000 person email list and we
Mm-hmm.
had to email them the next day with their access codes.
Yeah.
And active campaign went down.
Yep. That's how it always goes. There's always something.
Yeah.
It's yep.
So before I started working on the
Cringy.
campaign,
Yeah.
gives me shivers. I took a CSV of the
Mm-hmm.
entire list and I was like, okay, active campaign is down. We have, I think it was like 10,000 people had signed up for the thing. They were all waiting for their access code to get onto this like Zoom call or whatever, or like trainings and all this kind of stuff. We were doing like breakout rooms and whatever. And I
Yep.
was like, okay, how are we going to do this? Well, we can't send 10,000 emails through Gmail because that's going to break.
Yep.
What do we do? So we were like, okay, you take this many, you take this many, everybody like, and we were just trying to send out emails and be like,
Yep.
hey, here's your access codes. Thank goodness, like active campaign came on, I don't know, like 7 o'clock that night or something. And we were able to send our emails. But in a scary situation like that, where Facebook goes down or, you know, TikTok goes down and that's your spot, what are you going to do? And I think a lot of creators are like, oh, blank, oh, poop. If YouTube goes out tomorrow or if TikTok is banned or
Yep.
whatever, how am I going to? So, and I
Yeah.
think that's where people have to focus on their workflow.
Yep. Their workflow and definitely backing up, I think, goes a really long way. And again, like really thinking through the tools that you have. A tool like Ecamm, for example, is a desktop app. So you are recording your video onto your computer and then ideally you're also backing it up, on a cloud or on a hard drive or wherever else in addition. But it's there. So if there's something that happens, if you have, an internet outage, if there's,
You can still record.
if the company goes down, you still have your files, your video files, and you should be backing them up in different ways in different places. We did a whole training, I think it was earlier this year with our friends at Synology, talking all about like NAS and storage and backing
Mm.
up. And I learned I was doing so much of it wrong, you guys, so much, but I learned a lot. But yeah, it is really important. And thinking through like, a web-based versus desktop apps versus,
Mhm.
where you have things, how often you're backing them up. It's super easy to get into, speaking of habits, like to get into the habit of being like, I did record a podcast. It's up on YouTube. Like, it's fine. It's out there. You like, don't need to worry about these files. Now my computer is getting too full. So I'll just like delete those. But if anything like any of those sites can make changes. So
Yep.
having your content owned and creating a system and a habit where you are saving those in a place where you're able to access them later, or even if you're like honestly like sending them to like a friend on like anything is better than only having it up on the cloud because you just never know.
Yeah. And also on not having it all on your desktop, like not having it all on your
Yep.
actual computer.
Yep.
And then
Yeah,
you're like,
because
oh, I
anything can
can't
happen in your
record.
computer.
I
Yep.
have no, I mean, I have a couple terabytes on this computer, but I also have a couple terabytes of backup because
Yep.
if this goes down, like it's business. It's game, it's end game on business,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Yep.
but I have a cloud backup of my entire computer.
Yep.
I have Dropbox, I have Google Drive, I've paid for extra storage. I have my
Yeah.
4 terabyte, blah, blah, blah. Like I have all that kind of stuff just in case, because again, like if for some reason this thing goes down, it's not endgame for the business. I can like quickly pick up.
Yep.
And which is why I still have, don't laugh, I still have my older iMac on my
No,
desk
that's fantastic.
because
Yeah.
I mean, I can boot that thing up and
Yeah.
get it connected to the cloud and just keep going. Like I don't have to
Yeah.
worry, or my laptop or whatever. So, all right,
Hmm.
let's wrap this up. Let's get it back over to tech stack. Let's talk about why, how Ecamm can be like an essential piece of the tech stack. Ecamm's evolving. I mean, there was just the new integration with Zoom, which is
Yep.
fantastic. Makes it super easy. It's literally like copy a link. Here you guys go. Join my stream and everything, and I can't wait to switch over. And when I do, I will announce it quite profusely that the podcast has
I
switched
love
over
it.
to using Ecamm,
Yeah.
and I'm excited. So, what are your last sort of thoughts on proficiency of tech stacks?
Yeah, I mean, the one amazing thing about Ecamm is that it does just about everything in video. So you could be using it at its absolute simplest to, maybe you're just doing something as simple as recording a vertical video that like looks a little bit better than your phone that you're sharing out to Instagram. Great, it does that. You want to live stream out to, any of the platforms or all of them at once? Great, it does that. Do you want to record, a demo like to be able to share with internal team members? You can record that. You can record it all the way up to 4K. You can switch cameras. You can add microphones. You can drag and drop in GIFs and video files, etc. So it's really, really robust. And again, it kind of grows up with you. So
As you
it's
skill
nice.
up.
Yeah, it's nice to
Yeah.
not have to worry about so many tools. Like when I'm thinking about, you know, oh, I need to walk someone through something, for example, and I'm like, oh, I just want to be able to like share my screen like Loom style and walk by. Ecamm does all that,
Mhm.
but it also helps you live stream and it also syncs into your Zoom and it also does all these other things. So, I'm paying once. I have one tool that I'm comfortable with and familiar with, and it's doing all aspects of video production, audio production, everything in between. So that I think is what makes it really nice and kind of makes it really central because again, if you can get into this kind of sort of video first mindset, everything else these days is actually pretty easy. Like you could start with video and turn that into presentation slides. You could start with video and turn that into a blog post, into a workbook, into social posts. Tools like Caption make that easy. Like you're like done the video, over to you AI tools, and the AI tools do everything else. So we're sort of in this central space where we still need people, we still need the great ideas that are in your head, and tools like you can make it really easy for you to just get them out, and then you can do with them whatever you need to on the other side. But starting with video feels the scariest, and it's the scariest because it's the biggest, and the fact that it's the biggest makes it actually easier to do everything else downstream. So if
True.
you can start there, even if it's scary, get into the habit, like join our challenge and come hang out with us and practice it, because once you're there, then it just becomes like part of your everyday. And when you're thinking through that, people are like, oh, can I get this video clip? You're like, no problem. That's super easy. That's the easiest part now.
Yep. And between Doc and I, so Doc again, having been an actual drill sergeant, and me being a little bit more of the gentler, come play with
It's a
us,
Beauty and the Beast kind of scenario.
a little bit. So the motivations will be, he'll be like, you can do it, go do it. And I'll be like, I think you have the skills. Let me show you how, right?
Yeah,
So between the two of
exactly.
us,
Yeah,
it's gonna be a fun 21 days. So
it should
thank you
be.
so much, Katie. This is phenomenal. I'm excited. I actually definitely want to come back and have a completely different set of conversations. Uh,
Absolutely.
like
Anytime.
so fun. And then I think we're gonna launch a co podcast on probably like
100%.
historiography or
Yep.
like English
Yep.
lit.
I love it.
Let's I mean, I don't know about you, but I remember writing an entire paper about how many people could fit on the head of a pin.
Oh my gosh. I love
Medieval
it.
history, right?
And,
Actually, all
medieval
my
vibes.
university textbooks are behind me on my shelf. I
Oh
still
yeah, no,
have all
still.
of
Yep.
them.
Yep.
So,
Every English lit person needs a library. It's just part of it's like ingrained in us.
oh
You
yeah.
need a library. Yep.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so that's my little plug for my degree. Okay, thank you so much, everybody, for
Thank
listening. If
you.
you want to learn more about Ecamm and you are on a Mac, because you do need to be, because they are that niched in and they're that cool, then go to the show notes and you can get a wonderful link to try a trial of Ecamm, which is amazing. I know you're going to love it. And then I'll also have the link to go and join the 21-day content habit challenge. And I'll throw in also Capsho's link in there as well, so you can go check that out because these are both the softwares. Now, if you sign up for the challenge, you get 30 days of each, which is
Mm-hmm.
amazing, right? Because both softwares have like a 14-day trial. So if you go and sign up through the challenge, you're going to get a 30-day trial, which is fan-freaking-tastic. So go do that. And Katie, where can people find you, locate you, get to know you better?
Oh my gosh. So if you look up Ecamm, Ecamm, I am on all of those channels and I'm, on YouTube most weeks, multiple times. And then on the personal side, I do an 80s and 90s video review podcast. So you can find me at the vhsclubpod.com if you want to geek out over movies, just
I gave you a
never,
really
never
good
a
one to
dull
look at.
moment.
Pump Up the
Yeah, exactly.
Volume. I was like, oh
Pump
my
Up the
God, you
Volume is one of my all-time favorite movies. We like started with that review. So go over there and watch that review, Jennie. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We
This
might
is
actually
cool.
need to redo that one because of how many people surprisingly are like, you need to do this movie. No one's heard of it. I was like, oh, we have. So many people have heard of it. So
I think, but like as an aside, and we should really stop hitting, like we should really stop recording, but you guys can all listen in if you want to for 5 seconds. I really think with the change in the political landscape of life in the past 5 or 6 years,
yeah,
that the Pump Up the Volume is a little bit more actually a centralistic.
it holds up. Yeah.
Yeah, it
We
really
need more
does.
pirate radio. We need pirate podcasts now instead of pirate radio.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need some pirate radio podcast stuff. Yeah, absolutely. And Christian Slater's voice back from the, 1990 was just like, anyways. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll wrap this up. Obviously, we had a good time. Thanks so much again, Katie, and we'll see you all soon. Take care.